Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 4 of Future, and this one is titled Todoroki Baby on the Way. A month later, you were still doing well. Baby was thriving, and you were now 12 weeks along, so everyone knew by now, and the news reporters had gotten a hold of the exciting announcement and had broadcasted it nationwide. Red Riot, soon to be father. You and your beloved Sharky were ecstatic. You were looking forward to meeting your baby, and had started chatting about names and decorating the nursery. Life had finally started to settle. It was around 10 p.m. one night at the Todoroki residence, and Mrs. Todoroki was feeling slightly uncomfortable. "Jim, are you okay?" Shoto asked his wife with delicate concern. Shoto's wife had a gem quirk. She could make gems by singing, and was very good at it. She hailed from a long line of gem quirk wielders, and as a consequence Shoto had lovingly nicknamed her Gem. She had a sweet, gentle nature, and he loved her dearly. He was besotted with her and would do anything for her. "I'm okay," Jem said, wincing again as she shifted in her seat at the table. "Let's go and sit on the lounge for a bit," Shoto suggested, making his way around to her side of the table and helping her up. "Oh," Jem grimaced as she stood up. "Wait, hold on a second." She bent over slightly and held her pregnant belly. "Jem, please tell me what's wrong," Shoto asked again, a slight bit of panic in his voice. "I'm just getting cramps occasionally. I'm okay though. Please don't worry," she said as the cramp eased and she was able to stand up and walk. Shoto was not convinced and kept his gorgeous mismatched eyes on her, carefully helping her to the lounge room. "Can I get you anything?" he asked as he helped her sit. "A glass of water would be lovely, thank you," she replied with a beautiful smile. "Anything for you," he said in a low, respectful voice, leaning down to kiss his beloved wife on the forehead. She raised her hand up to caress his cheek and sighed happily. "Thank you." Shoto gave her a soft smile and then went back to the kitchen to get her some water. Another hour or so later they made their way to bed, with Jem still having cramps every now and again, but nothing too severe, just enough to make her uncomfortable and want to change positions. "You have 2 more days to go till the due date for our boy, correct?" Shoto suddenly asked as they were cuddling up in bed. "Yes, that's right," Jem replied, reversing into him a little more so that he could run his hand over her side and belly. The baby was on the move that night, and Shoto could feel all the little bumps and wiggles from the little one as it wriggled around in Jem's belly. "Not long now," he whispered with a kiss to Jem's neck. "Not long now," she repeated with a contented sigh. Pregnancy had been relatively good to Jem. She hadn't had much morning sickness, and she had felt very well throughout the duration of it. Even though she was almost full term, she didn't have too many aches and pains, so she counted herself lucky. Around 3 a.m, Jem woke to a particularly strong cramp, and she groaned as she shifted in the bed to ease the pain. Her noise woke Shoto immediately, and he propped himself up in bed and roused her slightly with a warm hand to her shoulder. "Jem, are you okay?" he asked in his deep, just woke up voice. No, his wife stuttered in reply. "I'm getting a bit more pain now." "Are you getting contractions?" Shoto asked. I don't know," she stuttered again. "I'm going to ring the obstetrician, see what he says," Shoto said, kissing her quickly before getting out of bed and grabbing his phone. He rang the obstetrician and told him what was going on. The obstetrician asked a few questions, then told Shoto to start timing when these contractions or cramps were happening, and to start heading to the hospital when they were in a regular pattern and 5 minutes apart. Shoto took his job very seriously, and every time Jem made a noise and commented on a cramp, he would check his watch. The contractions, as he was now calling them, were anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 minutes apart, and in no pattern, so he wasn't too worried. He got Jem as comfortable as possible and busily packed the last of the hospital bag in preparation for heading to the hospital. Unsurprisingly, Shoto was calm under pressure. He wasn't flustered at all and treated it like one of his hero missions, except that this was a personal mission, and that he was very excited to meet the outcome of this mission, his own little baby boy. At around 6 a.m, Jem was starting to feel more and more uncomfortable. The contractions were now 7 minutes apart, and she was finding it hard to deal with the contractions when they came, so Shoto rang the obstetrician again and told him that he was taking Jem to the hospital. The obstetrician agreed and told Shoto that he'd meet them there. It was go time. Shoto helped Jem to the concierge's car, having to stop twice on the way to the car as she had another contraction. The drive to the hospital seemed to be painfully slow for poor Jem, who had her nails digging into Shoto's arm as he sat beside her. He accepted the pain and was grateful that he could bear at least some of the pain with her, even if it were minuscule to what she was currently experiencing. The midwives met Shoto and his wife at the car outside the hospital doors and immediately helped her inside. During this, Shoto was giving them all the information about her contractions and other necessary details and was well and truly on top of his game. He obediently followed behind with the hospital bags and baby bag and placed them down in the corner of the birthing suite that they were taken to. As you probably expected, some of the younger midwives were starstruck having the Shoto Todoroki in their ward, but his eyes and full attention was on his wife, and he stayed beside her and held her hand whenever a contraction came. Jem was doing really well, and had dilated to 6 centimetres once she was checked by the nurses. She had to get to 10 before she would be allowed to push the baby out, but she was managing with just a little bit of happy gas and loving encouragement from her husband. As you've probably now cottoned on, Jem is you from Pinpoint, the book with Todoroki that was before. So you're doing fantastic in your labour. Well done. Hopefully the next chapter we will have a little baby with you and Todoroki. See you there.